Asterisk the note read, "I know who you are." For simple words that made Elise Harrington's blood run cold. She looked up from the folded paper to meet the eyes of her waiter, a man who, moments ago, had been just another face in her carefully constructed anonymity. Now, he held her most guarded secret in his hands, asterisk. If you're enjoying this story, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming tales that remind us how unexpected connections can change lives forever. The chandelier light caught the edge of Elisa's wine glass as she set it down with trembling fingers. 28 years old and worth $4.7 billion, she had perfected the art of disappearing in plain sight. No designer clothes tonight. No security detail. No reservation made under her famous last name. Just a woman in jeans and a simple blouse, seeking one evening of normalcy in a life that had been anything but since her parents' tragic accident left her the sole heir to Harrington Industries. The restaurant wasn't fancy, a mid-tier steakhouse on the outskirts of Chicago where real people ate real food and had real conversations. That's what Elise craved more than anything. Reality. Authenticity. Something her wealth seemed to repel like opposing magnets. "Is everything all right with your filet, ma'am?" The waiter, Marcus, according to his name tag, had returned to her table. His voice carried genuine concern, not the practiced hospitality she was accustomed to. His eyes were kind but tired, the slight shadows beneath them telling stories of long hours and longer worries. "It's perfect," she managed, her voice barely above a whisper. How did you know?" Marcus glanced around before pulling out the chair across from her. It was a Tuesday night, the restaurant nearly empty. "My daughter," he said simply. "She's 7. For her school project last month, she cut your picture from a magazine, Women Changing the World. She keeps it on our refrigerator." Elise felt her carefully constructed walls begin to crumble. "You haven't told anyone else?" "No," Marcus said. "And I won't. I just..." He hesitated, running a hand through his short dark hair. "I recognized what you're doing. Sometimes we all need to escape who we're supposed to be." The simple understanding in his voice nearly undid her. When was the last time someone had seen her, really seen her, beyond the fortune, beyond the headlines? "I'm sorry for the note," he continued. "That was dramatic. I just didn't know how else to." "It's okay," Elise interrupted, surprising herself with a small laugh. "Though I nearly had a heart attack." Marcus smiled, and something warm unfurled in Elisa's chest. "I get off in an hour," he said, standing to resume his professional demeanor. "If you'd like company. Just as people. No billionaires, no waiters. Just two humans having conversation." After he walked away, Elise stared at her half-eaten steak, contemplating his offer. She had mastered boardrooms and charity galas, but genuine human connection? That terrified her more than any hostile takeover ever could. Marcus Sullivan hadn't always been a waiter at Carlton's Steakhouse. 5 years ago, he'd been an architectural engineer with a corner office and a promising future. Then came the diagnosis that changed everything: his wife Emma's stage 4 cancer. Their daughter Lily had been just 2 years old when Emma died, leaving Marcus to navigate grief, single parenthood, and financial ruin all at once. The medical bills had taken everything: their savings, their home, his career when he couldn't maintain the demanding hours while caring for a toddler. Now, he worked 3 jobs, daytime shifts at a construction company, evening waits at the restaurant, and weekend gigs designing small residential projects. All to keep Lily in a decent school and their small apartment above water. He hadn't meant to approach Elise Harrington. He'd recognized her immediately. Who wouldn't know the face of America's youngest female billionaire? But it was the sadness in her eyes that had compelled him to write the note. He'd seen that same loneliness in his own reflection too many times. When his shift ended, Marcus was certain she would be gone. Billionaires didn't wait around for waiters. But there she was, nursing a cup of coffee at the bar, looking simultaneously powerful and vulnerable. You stayed, he said, unable to hide his surprise. Elise smiled, and for the first time that evening, it reached her eyes. I stayed. They walked along the riverfront, two strangers sharing pieces of themselves in the safety of night. Elise spoke of the crushing weight of responsibility, of board members 3 times her age who questioned her every decision, of charity events where people saw her checkbook instead of her person. Marcus told her about Lily's latest art project, about juggling bills and bedtime stories, about the architectural dreams he still sketched late at night when sleep evaded him. Why did you really write that note? Elise asked as they paused to watch the city lights reflect on the water. Marcus considered her question. Because you looked how I feel most days. Like you're drowning in plain sight and nobody notices. The truth of his words hit her with physical force. How do you do it? She whispered. Keep going when everything feels so empty. Lily, he answered without hesitation. She needs me. Purpose helps. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. He turned to face her. What about you? What gets Elise Harrington out of bed in the morning? The question caught her off guard. What did drive her? The company was her inheritance, not her passion. The charities were obligations, not callings. I don't know, she admitted. I've been running on autopilot since my parents died. Then maybe that's your problem, Marcus said gently. You need to find your Lily. 3 weeks later, Elise returned to Carlton's Steakhouse. This time, she made a reservation under her real name. This time, she brought blueprints. Marcus approached her table with professional courtesy that didn't quite mask his pleasure at seeing her again. Ms. Harrington. What brings you back to our humble establishment? Elise unrolled the architectural plans across the table. I've been doing some research. Did you know that Chicago has over 4,000 children in foster care? And that the facilities housing them are criminally underfunded? Marcus studied the blueprints, a modern, thoughtfully designed residential complex. These are good. Professional grade. They should be. I hired the best architectural firm in the city to draft them based on a concept. She paused, watching his face. A concept submitted anonymously by a local designer with remarkable talent but no formal portfolio. Understanding dawned in his eyes. You found my work. Online portfolios are public, Marcus. Even small residential projects. She tapped the blueprints. I'm establishing a foundation. The Harrington Youth Initiative. We'll be building residential centers like this one throughout the city, with educational facilities, mental health services, and career training programs. Marcus stared at her, speechless. I need a project director, Elise continued. Someone who understands both the architectural requirements and the human element. Someone who sees people drowning in plain sight. I can't accept charity, Marcus said quietly. It's not charity. It's a job offer. With a salary commensurate with your qualifications, flexible hours to accommodate Lily's schedule, and full benefits. Elise leaned forward. I found my purpose, Marcus. Now I'm offering you back yours. 6 months later, the first Harrington Youth Center opened its doors. Elise stood back from the ribbon-cutting ceremony, watching Marcus give the press tour. Lily skipped alongside him, proudly showing reporters the art room she had helped design. Elise's phone buzzed with messages from her executive team, acquisition proposals, stock fluctuations, board meeting reminders. Important matters that no longer consumed her entire existence. For the first time since inheriting her parents' legacy, she felt like more than the sum of her bank accounts. You're hiding again, Marcus said, appearing beside her as the crowd moved inside. Old habits, she replied with a smile. But for different reasons now. He took her hand, a gesture that had become natural over the months of working together, of late-night planning sessions that turned into deeper conversations, of Sunday dinners with Lily who now called her Aunt Elise. You know what Lily asked me last night? Marcus said. She wanted to know if you were going to be her new mom. Elisa's heart stuttered. What did you tell her? I told her that grown-up relationships are complicated. His eyes held hers steadily. And then I told her that I've never met anyone who makes me feel more alive than you do. The woman who had once felt invisible beneath the weight of her billions now stood fully seen by the man who had slipped her a note that changed everything. The Billionaire and the Waiter, an unlikely story that began with 4 words written on a napkin and continued with 3 words spoken beside a building that represented their shared purpose. I love you, Marcus said simply. And Elise Harrington, who had everything money could buy but had been starving for connection, finally felt truly rich. As the sun set over Chicago's newest beacon of hope, 2 people who had once been drowning found themselves breathing freely together, proving that sometimes the most valuable currency isn't found in bank accounts but in the courage to see each other's true worth. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Remember, the connections we make can transform not just our own lives, but create ripples of change throughout our communities. Sometimes the most meaningful notes in life aren't written on checks, but on simple napkins passed between strangers who see each other's humanity.